Okay, I see one viewer in here. Okay, welcome to the Pysanky egg decorating live stream. This is probably a pretty intimidating craft for a lot of people, but I've always loved um, just how ornate and detailed these eggs are. I mean, it's beyond your regular Easter egg, and it's typically a craft that's done around this time period, and it's obviously a Slavic tradition. A lot of countries do it, not just Ukraine, but Ukraine is the one that's most known for it. Um, and you might even want to look up when you're trying to figure out how you like designs and patterns that you want to do your eggs in. I think the country that has probably the designs that I like the most are kind of the Lithuanian style. They're usually kind of two tones, like white with a vibrant color. I really like those styles, but this is just, I mean, impressive. You know what I mean? I'm probably going to do a fairly simple design today, even simpler than this, because these actually can take quite some time. There's some people who will cover an ostrich egg and it'll take them a month or two to, get it done. But I thought it'd be a good time for everyone to try and take a stab at this. And I like our craft alongs to kind of be maybe something that people haven't tried. So I'm actually using a goose egg, so you can tell the difference here. This is a chicken egg and a goose egg. So goose eggs kind of afford you a little bit more room to work. Chicken eggs look just as fine. And I'd have to say that this other one, let me see if I can switch to the webcam here. If you can see the size difference, I want to say the one on the left is probably a duck egg. Could be. But the first thing I wanted to ask you guys, oh good, there's two of you. Fun. I was really hoping that some people would just invite their friends over. This is kind of some egg decorating. Egg decorating is kind of usually we do it in the family, not so much because of all the diseases floating around. We haven't really gotten together for egg decorating, but it's typically, I think, a tradition for a lot of people. And I think the Slightly Sinister patron crew have what it takes to kick it up a notch. And it's a really fun and actually addictive folk art to get into. Have any of you who are here done a Pysanky or Pysanika or whatever another country might call it style of egg using the wax resistance method? I'll give you guys a second. I know there's a slight delay, but it's not too bad today. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume that everyone is straight up beginning with this for the first time, like today. Were you guys able to get your crafts, or are you guys just kind of gonna watch it and then watch it again later when you decide to do it? A couple of things about your actual like work surfaces. As you can see, I cover everything with cloth because it's it's really hard to work with like reflected light and cameras and stuff. My work surface is actually like a laminate white top because it cleans easier. So I always have everything covered. But as you can see here, I had prior to this, I had spilt some black wax on this tablecloth, and to get wax out of cloth, you just heat it back up and soak it up with a paper towel. But just be aware of that. I hope I don't get any on this thing, but be aware of that. Just cover your cloth with, if you don't want wax on it. I think if anyone has like a Scentsy burner or those wax melters, you probably had a couple wax accidents. So, okay, you're gonna do it later. Okay, perfectly fine. And I kind of like making these a little longer because I think it's fun to feel like you're crafting with other people if you don't have other people. So it might be kind of nice just to hear me rambling, almost like you're watching a crafting podcast, I guess. Um, but yeah, surfaces. Just make sure it's nothing that you are going to freak out. If you're unfamiliar with it and you're kind of sloppy with your wax and stuff, you're going to want to have protected surfaces. Also, it's obviously going to be handy to have a paper towel. Paper towels absorb wax really easily, and you'll need them to wipe off wax. And your Kistka tool, you'll need to kind of wipe it off periodically to keep it from blobbing all over your egg. And then I hope you guys have maybe some dye vats. I just have mason jars that I'll be filling with water to make my dyes. And so I'm not sure if you guys are crafting or not, but one thing I wanted to ask you guys and take a vote on it, and it'll kind of choose how we start the craft. Do you guys, are you going to have the base, are you going to have white on your eggs at all, like on your design? Or did you want to have gold as your base color or another light color as your base? Okay, good. Because I was thinking about having a light green as my base color, which would mean that I would need to dye the egg first. So if you guys are wanting to have a different base color other than white, then let me know and we'll work on dyeing the egg first, and then we will, white will be on yours? Okay, so you're going to do a color for the base. It's essentially the same thing as leaving a white as it. So since you two are crafting and Tammy, you're going to do it later, I'll just focus on starting in right away. So, but since you are going to do a color, you would start with, say you wanted gold lines, you would need to dye your egg that gold color first, and then go in and draw your lines. Oh, hi Tammy with an eye. Both the Tammys are always here. Very cool. And Tammy, are you going to be having white in your pattern as well? I think we're kind of going to probably just start in with the drawing of the pattern. But I was telling everyone previously that if you want your base lines to be anything other than white, say you want gold filigree or whatever you're doing to your egg, you're going to need to dye your egg first. So since we got people who are going to use white, let's just go ahead and start with the designing. Now, I'm not going to get crazy with the geometric patterns and everything, so I'm just going to make a very simple pattern because these do take a while. So if you're just winging it, or if you have a pattern, like most of the kits, like the first kit I got came with, move this egg before I knock it over or something. Most kits will come with patterns. So if you didn't, these are very easy to find online, and it kind of, sometimes it will break down how you go about doing the pattern. I think one of these, yeah, so it has like step 1, you need to make this shape, you know, divide up this. I'm going to be showing you guys even easier, but it usually shows you. Are you guys working off of patterns, or are you just going to wing it too? And Tammy, I knew you had like eggs that were like they came out of the chicken that color. So is that what you're doing? You're using a base colored, your egg is green to begin with? Like that's how it came out of the chicken? But some of these designs get crazy detailed. So you may find a pattern. Okay, and there's, like I said, there's plenty of resources. Just type in Pysanky, and here, I'll show you guys. Let me pull up Pinterest real quick, and we'll take since we're going to start in with designing first, Okay, it's your natural edge. Okay, then we won't worry about dyeing my base. I will just kind of change what it's gonna do. So let me pull up my laptop so you guys can see what I'm looking at. This is just Pinterest, and these are really just kind of beautiful eggs. Super detailed. We're not gonna go that crazy today because, like I said, they take a long time. But for the people who are starting with a white, this one here would work, or like this pattern here. But Pinterest, I have a Pinterest, Slightly Sinister Pinterest page, and I post like inspiration for things all the time. So give me a follow on there if you guys. I'm slowly kind of letting my private pages become public, and I wanted to organize them, but hey, you know, I have time to be organized in real world, let alone in Pinterest. So for the majority, the pages are definitely categorized by things, but you can pull inspiration from here for sure. So, I mean, that'd be kind of easy to do, but I'm going to try and just do a very simple. I always say that too. I'm going to do something simple and I get crazy. The snowflake is kind of the simple one, but I don't know. I kind of changed my idea here. I was not going to have a white base, but we'll just go with it. So, back to webcam. All right, so do you have your guys' pattern, or do you want a moment to find it? And I can just kind of chit chat about Pysanky, because there a lot of these shapes and symbols, they actually mean specific things. Like the colors mean specific things. Obviously, the more in tune you get with this craft, you can be a little more specific about the story you want to tell with your egg. There's even a myth that there's a monster that's like chained to like a rock, and if Pysanky ever goes out of style or the craft is forgotten, like the monster will get released and like kill everyone. So I think it's vital that we we got to keep this alive, or else you know, the world is doomed. So like I said, I'm gonna kind of wing my pattern and try and keep it simple. And if you've got patterns, you can, you know, go ahead and, if you know how to do this and your pattern has instructions. Okay, well, the biggest thing right now is that for making designs and patterns is just laying down your reference lines. So I am not, you know, doing this with a ruler or anything. I'm just eyeballing it, and they might end up a little off because I'm obviously the way I'm doing this is for filming purposes. So I'm not directly positioned over my egg or anything. So take a pencil. I use a just your cheapy mechanical pencils, because they honestly have the most reliable mechanism inside. And then just start dividing your egg up into equal parts, and do not be dark with your lines. And did you guys blew out your eggs? I made a whole tutorial, and hopefully you guys had your eggs blown out before you showed up. There are some people who will, and traditionally actually the eggs are decorated while raw, and then they blow them out after the design. But I always see people having like chip away parts here after they after they've already put all that work into the design, and then the egg gets chipped, and then you end up having to like fill in that area with wax or little spot dye. So I just like working on the already hollowed out egg. Okay, so okay, my line is really curvy. Yeah, and you guys might be looking at this sideways. if I hold the egg like this, I'm holding it sideways, but it's upright for you guys. And you can use an eraser pretty easily on the eggshells. And if you guys, I'd love to see the designs you're trying to do. So, you know, post a picture of the pattern in Discord. I could take a quick look in there. But I say it's easiest to start dividing your egg into like fourths. So go from just kind of look down the egg and try and make it even. And these are just going to be kind of reference lines to help you make your pattern a little easier. I was thinking about maybe putting spider webs at the poles, and then maybe I'm like a big fan of poppy flowers, so maybe I'll do like a circle with a poppy flower in it, and that would be pretty simple. Let me know if you put something in Discord, and I'll take a look. Okay, so then now since oops, out of focus here. Since I'm going to probably be doing a spider web, I don't want to put too many, I don't know what you would call those, ladders. Ladders in the spider web, little segments. I'm going to keep them kind of broad, but I want them to kind of connect at the same spot. So I'm going to go around my egg now, and I'm going to mark a little line about 2 inches all the way around so they kind of connect. I actually was looking this morning and I saw some like Halloween ones, and this method would be perfect for like jack-o'-lantern eggs. I actually have a dye color, and it's called pumpkin, so I think those might want to be up a little higher. So just simplify my lines here so I don't make a mistake. And you might not be able to see those very easily, my lines. They're very faint. Another thing that might be difficult is, I should have thought about this beforehand, but for demonstration purposes, I'm actually using my wax is a beeswax color, and that's going to be kind of hard to see on the white egg. And most people use a black beeswax. Did any of you get black beeswax in your kits? It does make it a little easier to see what you're doing. It definitely does for like demonstrations, but okay, so now I've kind of got where my spider webs are going to go. Oh, you got black wax? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm using regular colored beeswax, so sorry if you guys can't really see what's happening. So I think here I'm going to make my little web shapes now. And you know, not everything has to be spooky. I think a lot of people feel pressured to be spooky all the time. But don't feel like you have to. Obviously, spider webs aren't like traditional, but I don't know why, but I think of spiders in the spring, even though they're kind of a summer thing. But I know the brown recluses at my house come out during June, July time frame. Maybe if I make a Pysanky egg in their honor, they will leave me alone this year. Wax colored wax. Yeah, the black for sure is way easier, and I actually have a a black beeswax candle right here that I brought from my parlor because I was like, oh, that would have been good to do. So maybe I will be able to use it. Okay, so I think we have quite the crowd today, yeah? Looks like it. 6 people. Okay, so kind of got the top little points. As you can see, it makes kind of like a box. And then I'm going to do it on the bottom. And like I said, I am just kind of eyeballing this, guys. I didn't want you to... I can be insanely detail oriented. And if you guys also can't hear me, let me know. Because I'm kind of not facing the mic. I opted to not have 2 mics, a 2 mic array set up because of the tin can issue I kept getting. And you guys would have to listen to me sound like RoboCop for a couple hours. And it's just these lines, even though I started out with just regular divisions, you can see how it really helps you keep your geometry in line, you know? And I am trying out also a new device today. My mother had purchased for me a to maybe expedite things. I got an electric Pysanky or a Kistka. So I don't have to keep melting it over a candle or keeping it hot. And that's I know you guys are probably using the traditional Kistkas, which is the little wax pen. And I'll give you guys some pointers. But they're pretty sturdy. Sometimes they will catch on fire. Don't panic. Just put the fire out and don't tell anyone you caught it on fire. But I think it's pretty wild. Every time I think about all of the things that, different countries and cultures have come up with. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I would have been one of those people that was creating new ways to make things. Do you think you guys would? Do you think you guys would have come up with something like this? I also have to remind myself that people they're busy, their lives, yeah, they were doing stuff, but I mean, most people were kind of creating their own food, but like farming and stuff. And during the winter, they had like all winter to kind of come up with things to do. Maybe I'm generalizing, but we are super busy in today's world. And I kind of like the Pysanky eggs because it makes you slow down. It's pretty fun. So I'm just kind of making these little chambers that I'm going to have some kind of, maybe I'll have a spider and, no, gotta keep it simple. Keep it simple. I'm going to stick to doing a poppy because my entire Christmas decor in my dining room is kind of Matryoshka dolls, um, the Russian nesting dolls type thing, and poppies. I got poppies in my Christmas tree. One of them. Okay. So now that I have the spider web part done, I can go in here and kind of plot out what I'm going to do. Is this light too bright? Maybe I can move it away a little bit and you guys can see a little easier. Very faint lines. Yeah, I'd say I think it's a matter of people having more time to think. A lot more time to think. People weren't driving, hours every day to do stuff, so they had a little more time. I don't know. So what do you think? What do you think, guys? What should I put in this little I guess another egg shape? Any votes? Let me kind of I think I'm just going to do a big poppy. Maybe I'll make 3 little dots in the center. 1, 2, 3. It's not really center, but it's okay. And then I'll big floppy poppy leaves. It's a poppy. What does a poppy bud look like? I got to look that one up. I'm only familiar with them being open. I'll just make some big petals. That should be fun. Nice and easy. And I'll do that, and then maybe I'll put a kind of stem coming down. And then there's often these like kind of stylized leaves. I'll maybe do that. So I'm thinking the background of the poppy is going to be black. And my spider webs are obviously going to be white. So maybe I make a tiny little geometric like lattice between each of these little egg shapes. So let's cut that up. And you do not actually have to put every single detail drawn in pencil. And if you absolutely hate what you've drawn, just give your egg a vinegar bath and it will erase. It'll get your egg back to new. Okay. Some people's dyes require white vinegar and some don't. Just make sure that if you bought a kit that you read the instructions on the actual dye when we get to that point. Maybe I will do a poppy on each side and then maybe a stylized spider in the other 2 little windows. Can you guys see that? Your flowers don't have to be perfect if you're following along that way. Like I said in the post for the live stream, the most important thing to accomplish today is figuring out how to use the Kistka and getting the dyes right. There are ways to reverse a bad dye combination, but we don't want to have to do that. And there's also some kind of more modern techniques that have been done with Pysanky, where they're using acid baths to kind of etch the eggs. Yeah, it's really cool. I follow one guy who on I think Instagram, and he's does like really amazing ostrich eggs. Okay, so then I'm just gonna do a little stylized looking spider. Spider butt. Do like a little figure 8 kind of thing. And then I'll have the legs go up. No, I'm not liking it. Abandon ship. Just allude to the spider with the webs. I'm good. Okay. Simple, 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 right? Simple. Keep it simple. I'm going to check Discord to see if you guys have posted anything. I don't see anything in there. Okay. I just think I got one more flower to make, and then I'll be ready to cover some lines. I'm trying to figure out what it is I want to leave white. Maybe I'll leave the backgrounds for the poppies white. I'm using my macro lens also. So if I go out of focus and for too long, let me know. Okay, this light is like super intense. There we go. That's better. You can see it a little easier what I'm trying to go for. So let's see, what parts do I want to leave white? We said the spider webs, right? So let's go ahead and boil our first, or get the dye ready for our first colors. So when we're done covering the egg, that's just ready to covering what we want to leave white. We will have that ready because the dye should be room temperature. You don't want that to be boiling hot. So let me go back to the webcam angle. This is probably too big of a jar because we aren't going to use a whole lot of dye, but did you guys already get your dyes together? I didn't want to do it, jump the gun, and then people were wondering how to do it. So I have a kettle. And I'm just going to boil some water real quick. You only need about 1.5 cups, at least for the dyes that I'll be using, which, you see the ones that I think light green, dark red, black, and when I need yellow. Okay, so you haven't done yours yet. So go ahead and heat up your water, and you can make all of your colors now if you'd like, which I might do. Why not, right? I'll have the water boiled anyway, so gonna be short one jar. All these extra dyes. Okay. So I'm going to put my egg in the basket here so I don't accidentally knock it. Alright, so kettle is going. Get your jars ready. I'm kind of using big jars because I don't want there to be splashing splashing everywhere on accident. Also, if you're going to get into this, you can make large batches of the dye and they'll keep forever. So don't think that you have to throw them away. I would use a jar or container that you can put a lid on because you can keep using these dyes again. Let's see. The first color for me will be yellow. And we have to do this from the lightest shade to the darkest. So I'm going to organize my jars in that fashion. Black will be last if you're using black. Yellow will be first. We're going to cover our white spots and then we'll dye the yellow. And the yellow will go all over the egg. There are some people who, if you just want to use like a little, what is that? A Q-tip. You could use a Q-tip just to dye a certain little spot. You don't have to soak the entire egg in the dye. If, like, for instance, on these, what do you call them? With all the pollen attached to it in the flower, I could just take a Q-tip and cover those. But whatever, you can dye the whole egg. And then after yellow, I will do light green and then red and then black. So that's the order of what colors are you guys going to be using? And if your instructions didn't come with which colors you should do first, let me know and we can figure that out if you're concerned. Also, most of these dyes, they're like industrial grade, so they're not something you should be putting on food. Oh, you know what? Scissors. I'll be right back. Let me get some scissors. Also, the dyes will probably not look like what the color they're supposed to be. So make sure you have your jars marked. So yellow. Right, yellow. Oops. Kettle's almost done. Turquoise, red, yellow, white, black is what you're using, and you're not sure which order to put them in? I believe it's white, yellow, turquoise, red, black. Red's kind of considered typically the darker. So like, see this color is light green, but the powder is orange, like a raw umber type color. I don't know if you guys can hear the kettle going on in the background. Sorry if it's obnoxious. That'd be a really nice color combo. I love turquoise and red. It's a good old, that's going to be a nice poppy color. I think it would be nice to add some dimensionality to the poppies by putting orange kind of towards this. I think it's stamen is the word I'm looking for earlier. But that's a whole nother color I got to make up. So probably going to bypass making a dimensional poppy. Some people said that they were going to use natural dyes, which I would love to do because you can get some really cool colors, but it takes so long for them to soak. You got to let them in, like sit in a jar overnight. Yeah, I'd have to block off. So after I do like so I'll lay out my white little lattice pieces, cover the white that I with the wax, and then I dye my little yellow bits. Then I gotta cover the yellow bits, and then do orange. It adds a whole nother covering section. So I originally only was gonna try and do 3 colors, but kettle's still going. So, did you guys get your designs done? Or did you need a little more time? And another question, you're done? Okay. Your Kistka tools, did your kit give you like 3 different sizes, or did you only get one? My tool comes with interchangeable tips. Um, and I'm just going to try and use the big broad one for the most part. So mine might end up looking a little bulky, but I can always switch out for the smaller tips, but I just don't want to have to change it up. And I'm using a goose egg, so the bigger tip will go a little faster. You don't have to. I mean, if they're kind of random on the design, you don't have to follow that exactly. All right, water's almost bubbling. I honestly, I think it's nice to just kind of have like the basic shapes and like the fields of the egg kind of blocked out, and then you can take your time like making like filling them in your own way, kind of like an adult coloring book. Okay, my water is done, so give me just a second. I'm gonna grab it. I need like a rolling chair. I'm using like a regular chair on carpet, and it doesn't scoot back easily. All right, I'm going to kind of be eyeballing it a little bit, so. Isn't that weird how that orange powder turns green? And the unfortunate thing is my jars are a little large, so I'm going to have to be gently rolling the egg around. If you're eyeballing it, just make sure you don't put too much water in because it will dilute your colors. It's kind of like a wine color. Okay, so I've got my dyes. And my specific packages of dye say to add a tablespoon of white vinegar. So I'm going to do that. right, dyes are done, but we have to let them get to room temperature or let them cool before we dunk eggs in there. And we've got plenty of work to do. So, oops. Let me make sure they're dissolved. I'm going to throw them back here to cool off. That red color is this might be a little too dark for the poppy, but whatever. Okay, so all my colors. Yes, these dyes are not food safe. Definitely not food safe. You can absolutely use regular Easter egg dyes that are food safe. It's perfectly fine. If you intend on spending all this time on, you know, eggs that you plan to make deviled eggs with or whatever. If that's your jam. Whoa, my chair is like almost broken. Okay. All right, so here we are. Now I need to identify exactly what it is that I want to be white. We said the spider web. And yeah, I'll just do the spider web for now. Make that white. The adding of vinegar depends on the dye. Like for instance, I think I have some that say don't add and some that say do. Let me show you. And these are egg specific dyes. Like you can use other types of dyes, but these are just obviously the most successful. Let me see. I know I have some that say don't add vinegar. So this here says add 1 1/4 cups boiling water to a package of dye for best results. Use distilled water. Add 1 tablespoon of white vinegar. Cool before using. And then I've got like this one. It says do not add vinegar. So it just depends on the type of dye you get. Just make sure you pay attention to the packaging. And I think most of the Easter egg like dyeing kits that you can get in like Walmart and stuff, I think those are all add vinegar type dyes. Okay, so I'm going to make the actual spider web now with my wax. So let's talk Kistkas. I have a normal one, just like you guys. And I don't know how many of you, do any of you have an electric one too? Maybe, maybe not. So this is a very fine point Kistka. So I might use this one, which is the normal hold it over a flame scenario. And then I've got, this will make kind of a bolder spider web because I have like the largest well on there. But to show you guys how to use your Kistkas, I will put this candle over here. Hopefully it doesn't burn down my cords or whatever. So your kits probably came with a candle. If it doesn't, grab a tea light. I think everyone should have candles somewhere in their house. And light your candle. Make sure you have paper towels on hand. And we're actually going to do a couple practice strips here. So light your candle. And the traditional Kiska's handle is obviously wood, so that's not what you're going to try to heat up. You're trying to heat up the tip and the well where the wax goes in. So grab a chunk of wax. And I might actually just honestly take a chunk off the black candle I'm using so you can see my lines easier. Yeah, I'll just do that. Once again, if your Kistka lights on fire, just let it blow out, and not the end of the world. Also, the beeswax sheets are a lot easier to use because you're not having to melt so much wax. I don't have any of those. I just have the blocks. But you don't want your Kistka to be too hot because the wax will just pour out of it, and that's not what you want. So as you can see, I got like a little blob. I've got like a little blob that formed, and just dab that off. And then heat up your Kistka a little bit, and then go down to your paper. Let me get this focused for you guys. And then just make a line. It's really simple, and it's not like you're holding a pencil either. You want that tip to be almost the little hollowed out part of your tip to be right on that paper. And usually, if you got it at the right temperature, it's not going to just flow out on its own. It's usually going to just happen when you touch the thing. You might end up getting a little bit of a thicker line sometimes. If your lines start getting blobby, wipe off your entire Kistka tip. Reheat, just keep it warm. And this is what's kind of nice about the electric one. If you're trying to get this done a little faster, the electric one stays hot. So you just kind of bypass this whole where's the wax? Oh, I'm pulling it off of the candle because it's a black wax of the candle, so you guys can see my lines. I'm quite literally just, let me show you. I'm heating it up here and I'm taking it off of this back end. But to use the other kind, heat up your pencil or your Kistka and then just take it to the block of wax and let the wax melt into the well. Don't overfill it. And also, it's good to practice. See, I just made some drops on there, so you got to keep the temperature right. So I say anytime you're about to go to your egg, so you just dumped a bunch of wax in your Kistka, heat it up, get some wax in there. I definitely suggest, as you can see, it just drips out. So don't do this over your egg, but fill the well. And before you take it over to your egg, like just dab it on your paper towel. There are some people who make insanely detailed Pysanky eggs, and they use heated up calligraphy pen tips. So I just dabbed it on there, and then I can go and make very controlled lines. Tammy, did that answer your question? And you can, after the wax dries, you can feel it. It's it's raised. So does anyone have any questions about making this happen? This making the Kistka work. Like you can make some really crazy patterns. The challenge with using the traditional one is just keeping it the correct temperature. So, but it's really not too hard. Just make sure you don't take it to your egg until you've like checked your temp by dabbing it on the paper towel. Does anyone have any questions before we get started on the actual eggs? Is anyone nervous? Does anyone have backup eggs? That's a question here. So I might just use the candle off of this, or the wax off of this candle. I don't know. We'll see. And also, this is a kind of very rudimentary Kistka. It's just wrapped with, the funnel's just wrapped with wire. So mine's a little sloppy. But, I'll give you guys a second to respond if you have any questions. Lots of backup eggs. Okay, good. So we're not going to worry too much about it. Okay, so now, here, I'm going to test the size on my tip here, my electric one. As you can see, it's pretty substantial compared to the other ones as far as size goes. But I am using a goose egg. So, should I switch down lower? I feel like I want to maybe go one step lower on the size for the well. Let me swap that out real quick. Just in case, because I'll be up. That'll annoy me the entire time. Let's see. What size do I want? Let's go with this one. Size number 2. Now this tip's a little hot, so if yours has adjustable tip, hopefully they gave you like the little tool for it too. Oh, I just read that. I completely read that incorrect. Did it crack? Oh. And that's kind of why sometimes people use the full eggs, but I don't like doing all that work and then you chip your design at the end and you have to re-dye it. But, I mean, if maybe you're someone who's got like, come on. Oh. Here we go. So sorry. Yeah, we can wait a minute while I'm adjusting this pin and giving it a go. So this might mess with your mind a little bit when you are now covering the parts that you want to remain white. If your egg is white, or in Tammy with an eyes case, green. So whatever part of your pattern that you are trying to have it stay white, that is what you are covering now. Let me put this tip back in the bag before I lose it. Okay, so keep that paper towel right there by the candle. I'm going to blow my candle out because I've got a bunch of wires kind of above it. I'm trying not to blow too hard. The last time I blew a candle out was when we did the wire candelabras. I full on like blew the candle out with a force, and it spattered wax all over my craft room walls, and I had to repaint it because it stained it. I was super mad. Are you sure you're fine with that? I don't want to. It helps if you have a soft surface that you're doing it on, because that will keep the egg from rolling around. So maybe get like a towel and lay that down. That will help a lot. And especially if you do drop it, it will, land on something a little softer. Just a little tip, I guess. Okay, so take this Kistka, put it over here. All right, so I'm going to start on the egg, and I'm doing this spider web portion now. Refocus the camera. I think that looks okay. Does that look in focus to you guys? Okay, and now I also have like a little lathe set thing, but for the spider web part, because it's on the ends, I'm gonna do it by hand. So I'm filling it up over the paper towel in case it gets all drippy. Out of focus. Let me make sure I got that in focus good enough. There we go. Like, I'm not quite at the point with this craft that I can just do the crazy straight lines like everyone does right off the bat on some of the pro people I watch. Is it blurry again? Or oh, okay, is it fixed? Okay. So you do want to try and do your lines nice and smooth. But if you can't, don't worry about it. Just keep going. It kind of, I mean, and it kind of makes it go a little faster. One less step, I guess. But I know, I mean, the majority of like the professionals that I see doing this, they the I think a lot of them prefer just the tactile part of doing it by hand, heating your Kistka by hand. And it might be more of like a paying homage to like the origins. I keep getting it on the side of my Kistka. So I'm just making that spider web shape. Remember, if your lines are getting globby, just wipe off your Kistka. Oh, don't mind me, I'm just dropping my egg. The really kind of like lame part about using the macro lens is having to hold it in a really shallow depth of field. And you don't, it doesn't have to be super thick too. You're just trying to cover that part of the egg. Oh, see, I just, big dummy here. Dropped a big ball of it on my egg. I told you guys not to do it, and I went and did it myself. Now, that part is most likely not going to take the dye, even if I scrape it off. So, I guess it'll be good to show you guys what not to do. Yeah, darn it. Now, if that does happen, I'll show you what you got to do. Back to the webcam. Light your candle. Just hold that part of the egg over it to melt that wax, and then sop it up with your... Do not scorch your egg. So we'll see just how much of this doesn't take the dye. Oh. Okay, so back to this. But yeah, so, but about making mistakes. Sometimes trying to remove that little mistake will actually make it a lot more noticeable. So we'll see when we dye it how well it takes there. So now that I've got that main part, the crisscross part of the spider web done, I'm just going to go in and freehand some little struts, we'll call it. Golly. Is anyone having a big struggle right now with theirs? I hope no one feels like I'm cheating by using an electric one. I got a lot of moving parts going on while filming, so too bad if you do feel that way. I trying to make it a little easier on myself. Okay. Now I'm going to move to the other side and do, so you see that's what I got. Spider web done. Move to the other side. Oh, keep getting wax all over the side of my Kistka. I will say about the corded Kiskas, the cord can be pretty cumbersome at times. So don't think for 1 second that there's not a downside to everything in life. Let me fix that real quick. Okay, so here we go. Here we go, but I need more wax. Do not think that you have to have your egg done by the time I close out the live stream. kind of nice. I feel like Pysanky eggs is a quiet craft. Ugh, animal hair. Animal hair in my wax. You want to try and keep yours fairly debris free, because if that gets splayed out over your egg, you could have some difficulties, some extra shapes you didn't anticipate. Okay. I'm afraid if I put autofocus on my macro lens, that it'll just be zooming in and zooming out the whole time. But if you guys think it's annoying that like I might be out of focus, maybe, let me know. And sometimes your Kiskas can get clogged up. And a lot of the time they'll come with like a little runner tool that's a kind of like a wire. That you can run through the tip. I hope everyone's having fun learning this. I like this craft because it's kind of, I mean, aside from the electric Kistka can be kind of expensive, but it's not unfathomable that you could purchase a bunch of kits, which a lot of them are usually kind of put together, and then the proceeds go towards, like Ukraine's recovery and relief. And it'd be super fun to do as like a family. The other downside to using the method where you have the egg left whole or raw while doing it is you kind of need that tool to clean the egg out afterwards. It's like a little suction cup thing that comes, not suction cup, but a suction bulb. And it blows air into the egg and then the goo comes out. And if you did the 2-hole method after you decorated the egg, I feel like you're just asking for trouble. Spend all this time on your egg and then you end up cracking it at the end. I just don't see that as, at least not starting out. Feel free if you guys get obsessed with this. I think that's what I keep aiming for with the craft alongs. Let's do crafts that we think people can get obsessed with. If you guys would like, or if you're interested, I can give you the names of a couple Pysanky artists that I follow. They're really easy to find though. You just type in Pysanky and pretty much everyone pops up. I feel like this is kind of with the Academy of Crafts paint along we do. This might be not a whole lot of talking going on, so I periodically will demonstrate something and then I spend a few moments doing it, and I don't know if the silence bothers anyone. Hands are full. My hands are full, so my mouth won't work. Okay, so I got the little spiderweb part. Now I just need to make sure there's nothing else that I want left white. I don't know. What do you guys think? I was thinking about making these little lattice parts yellow since I made the dye. I might as well use it. So I'm going to put my tool aside. Hopefully it won't burn me. Put my wax away. And I'm going to get my dye. So first color is going to be yellow for me. So I'm going to very carefully put it in the jar. And I'm going to swish it around. Where's my little swishing tool? Your eggs will float, obviously. So just gotta make sure it gets coated. This is that's the other reason why people do them while they're still full with egg yolk and everything, is because they sink to the bottom. So you don't have to, you just throw them in the cup and forget about them for a while. So, yep, It's going to be a good thing to be able to show you guys this. But that part that I got the blob and I had to try and get the wax off, it's not taking the dye. And another good thing is to kind of, if you've noticed that your eggs are not taking the dye, or your dye that you're using, the brand is not like strong enough, give your egg a vinegar bath before you start doing everything, and that sometimes will help the dye take a little better. Oh, hands are full, can't type. Yeah. Yeah, do not risk breaking your egg for the sake of entertaining me. So let this soak for a little while. Try not to get it on yourself too. Let me check my stream and make sure it's running strong. Mine's taking the yellow pretty good, except in that one spot. So I guess it'll be good to show you what happens if you make a little mistake. We can all point at Sarah and laugh. It's all right. Nope. You wait till the end to do that. But you do need to make sure you get all your dye out of the end. So just hold a paper towel up to the holes when you're cleaning it off to get the dye out of the inside. Typically at the end, people will fill the holes with wax or leave them open. I'm not opposed to leaving them open. Sometimes the little wax plug comes out anyway, so. Okay, so mine looks like it's pretty good. There's a couple spots, like I said, where the wax makes me sad. It's okay. All right. So, paper towel. Try not to get this dye on anything. This is the sketchy part, and this is kind of why I'm using a bigger. I do have a fork. What am I doing? I'm using a plastic fork, can help get your egg out of the jar. Ooh, come on. Very careful. Okay. All right, hang on. Let me get the paper towels. Ow! Oh, there's some resin on the floor. All right, wipe your egg off. Okay, so clean. get the wax out, get the dye out, I mean. Typically, if you just hold the paper towel up, you see these little spots that you're getting. It'll just pull it out of the bottom of the egg. So, let me switch back to this. As you can see, the wax, this stupid light is like super strong. As you can see, the wax kept it from taking right there where I made that little smudge. So that'll be an ongoing issue every time I dye the egg. But it's okay. Staying light. Okay, did everyone get their first color done? Let me know in the comments if you're having any problems. Okay, so my next color is going to be green. So I have to cover everything that I don't want to be green, which is, it doesn't really matter. Or, sorry, I do. I have little spots that I don't want green. The little yellow, whatever you call those. I can't, plants, botany. Anyone, I've got a botanist in the house. The stamen. I don't want those to be, you might not be able to see the pencil lines very much anymore because after you dye them a few times, they start rubbing off. But, here, let me turn the light away. It's a little easier. So now I have to cover the little stamen, and I said I was going to do something with the lattice. So let me, there we go. So I need to cover those little dots now. Let me throw this dye rag somewhere out of the way. Get my wax back out. And I'm going to do something, cover those little stamens, and then I'm going to do the lattice part in between. So whatever you don't want to be, or whatever you want to stay yellow, that is what you're covering right now. Sorry. Had a brain fart. Okay, clear up here. So only covering what you want to stay yellow. Everything that is going to stay white is already covered. Do not remove that wax. That needs to stay how it is. Okay. And I'm going to show you guys this little lathe thing that I've got, because that might help me keep from taking the egg out of focus. So since I got my little spiderweb doodads done, this thing makes me nervous because I'm always afraid it's going to crush the egg. How upsetting would that be? Okay, so this is the little egg lathe. We'll see how it goes, guys. Wish me luck. All right, so let me make sure it's in focus. And now I'm just going to cover those little parts there. And I think I'm going to use the black wax on this candle here. so you can see it easier. Remember, dab, dab. Then I can rotate the little egg maker, egg lathe. Excuse me. Come on, wax. Okay, next one. Okay, so I've got those little parts covered because I want those to stay yellow. And now I got to figure out what I'm going to do with these little lattice parts. And if you guys have, yes, everything that stays yellow gets covered. I feel like this is like reverse drawing, so it's kind of crazy for me to think. Okay, so now let's see. I'm going to make this little lattice. And then move on to the next one. Let me check my phone real quick. Make sure no emergencies are happening in the family here. Oh, yeah? That's cool. Thank you for showing what your progress shots are. Yeah, I think the brown eggs give a really cool natural starting tone. Um, Tammy with an I posted in Discord her egg progress if you want to take a look. So, moving right along here. I'm having a hard time finding the music box mechanism for this month's. You guys are technically, you're getting two videos this month, but one is the birdhouse from last month that I got started late on because of sicknesses from previous month. And the only places that I'm finding the particular song I want is, like $300. Yeah, it's actually, first of all, it's helping me film because I'm not taking the egg constantly out of focus. Um, it does make it a little awkward in some angles. Obviously, I could have just turned the egg with my hand, but this is definitely helpful for filming. And if you are a clumsy person, I assume it would be helpful as well. Which I am. I don't feel like I used to be clumsy, but you get older, you just lose your balance and everything. I say older, but I'm at the making of this video, I am 37. It does make it kind of an awkward angle. Is everyone getting along with their Kiskas pretty well? I feel like no one's said anything so far. Yep, I'm ancient. My bones feel old, that's for sure. Okay, now I am ready for my next color. You guys might not be. Let me know if that's wonky looking. It's okay. Let's keep going. Okay, I'm ready for my next color. Let me make sure I don't melt something. Sorry. They need to make like little Kistka holsters. I don't have a place to hold my stuff. So let me take my egg, put it in the basket real quick. All right. Kistka is secured. All right, now I am ready for my next color, which will be green. I was like, wait a minute, what is it going to be? So put your egg in the green, or whatever color it is you want. Oh, this actually wouldn't have been too bad to take camping with you. Sorry if that hurt someone's ear. I accidentally hit the mic. Are you a glamper? Do you take all of the things with you? That might be why it's why not one more little box of stuff? Unless you're in a tent. Well, I mean, I guess you could do Pysanky by firelight. Okay. I think mine looks good. Now I'm gonna go about trying to get this out of here again without spilling. Okay. Okay. Wipe your egg off. Where'd the paper towels go? Why are the paper towels never where I need them? All right. Paper towels. Okay. Now wipe this egg off and drain it. Get the dye out. See that little white spot? Dun dun dun. You know what? If this does happen to you, just hit it up with paint. That part is going to be black for the, yeah, I think on, yeah, it's going to be black. So I'll just hit it up with paint. So that's what a mistake looks like. If I got a blob of wax on there, and instead of just leaving it be, I tried to get it off and it didn't work. So now you know. Duh, I totally intended that for a learning experience. I think, honestly, this is such a cool... Folk arts are things that are underappreciated, and they get snubbed, and a lot of like high art people turn their nose up at arts and crafts. But like I said, when the lights go out, these are really the kind of arts and crafts that will hold true. That demon I was talking about, or whatever, that's like trapped, chained to a rock because Pysanky is alive. Yeah, we got to keep it going. Okay, so now I cover all the parts that I want to stay green, which is the stems of the flowers. Okay, making sure I get all the dye out of there. How tragic would it be if the darker the dyes, the... Okay, shoving a little bit up there. Be gentle with your eggs, though. Okay, I think I'm good for now. Good enough. So let's put it back in the egg lathe. And I am just covering, which my lines are getting kind of faint right now. But I'll make it work. Let's see. They're very faint. If you need to, you know, you can draw your lines back on there, but I'm going to just wing it. Then I had those little... Okay, so there's one. I think that stem needs to go up a little higher. Okay. You guys see how it's coming together? look at that. Guys, it's going to kill me. It's all right. This always happens whenever a camera's on. That's when I make mistakes when I do things. But I was talking to a patron, and the patron actually said it was nice to see me make mistakes. So that's what I'm going to go with. It's good for everyone. I like have a thing for eggs. Like in December, our craft along is going to be these old school sequined eggs, and not really, well, not necessarily just eggs. They're like ornaments, and they're really cool. But I know some people do sequined eggs for like Easter and stuff. So I'm just gonna do the Christmas version. Okay, one more. Right? Is that the only thing I have left to do green? I think so. Here in Kansas City, where I am, there's a place called the Strawberry Hill Heritage Center, and there's like a lot of Ukrainian and Croatian, just like Slavic origin immigrants area here in Kansas City. And one of the things that they do there is teach how to do Pysanky, which I think is really cool. And the sad thing is these things usually aren't very often because they don't have like a huge demand. Like people don't see too much value in it, and I just think it's sad because it's so cool. Okay, everything that I want green is now green, except for the obvious stupid white spot. We just keep rolling right there. Yeah, there we go. All right, into the red we go. Let me make sure. One last check. Because if you mess up this part at this stage, you just need to roll with it. All right, let me get my red. Make sure. And this is a dark red. I don't think it's going to look quite as awesome as I had hoped. I should have used like a more vibrant red for poppies, but I already mixed the colors. Whatevs. I think I'm going to leave the ends, like the spider webs, I think I'm going to have them be the red, just to make a good balance of color. I'm going to leave those red. So the only part that will be black will be behind the lattice. and behind the flowers. I think that'll look good. How's everyone doing? Just kind of a nice little antique color. And the fact that I used the lighter colored beeswax on the spider webs, it does kind of let me see what it's going to look like when all the wax is melted off. Okay. Paper towel. Okay. Let's get another paper towel ready. Kistka out of the way. Look, guys, it's coming along. Getting all of that dye off of there, out of the inside. Is anyone lagging behind a lot? Need me to slow down at all? Get all the dye out of there. It's actually a really nice wine color. Cool. Okay. Now I cover everything that I want to stay red. So whatever color you just dyed your stuff, you are now trying to make sure that that stays put by covering it completely. And I think my tip for my Kistka is big enough to where this will go pretty quick. So I'm going to leave the ends where the spider webs are. I'm going to leave those red. So I need to cover them. And then I need to cover the flower petals because everything else is getting dyed black. So, get my little wax paper rack. Square this up. Okay. My wax. So I will just make the poppy flower petals first. Paper towels out of my way. Okay. just fill in the entire area that you're trying to leave behind. It's actually kind of look like Tudor roses. I thought about doing a Tudor rose, but there's like so many layers to a Tudor rose. And I was like, gotta keep it simple. Save myself some agony. I definitely think that the electric Kistka has saved some time. At least for the live stream. You guys would be here forever. Make sure you get, I gotta get the little in-between parts between the flower, otherwise that would get turned black. Okay, one flower. There's a couple Pysanky artists that recommend you find a little spot to put your initials in, or and the year. I thought that was kind of cool. Sign your Pysanky. It's actually kind of pronounced Pysanky, but I don't pretend to be a linguist. Pysanky. And how many of you, after kind of doing this, do you think you're going to keep it up? Think you'll turn this into a hobby? There's a couple little house plants I want to make. I've got ideas for based off of that last craft along using the latex technique that I showed that I want to do. But I'm really just trying to get caught up this month for you guys. But I actually can't believe, like, the pantyhose and latex technique is incredibly strong, super strong, which was a huge, I think a lot of people end up making crafts that are ultra delicate, about to fall apart, but these things you can toss around. Okay. You'll do more for sure? Good. I'm definitely, this is kind of, I get the same kind of zen feeling when I'm doing these that I get when I'm doing like crochet or knitting. Like after, I always have to do a test knit or a stress knit square before I do an actual project, because this girl's tense from normal life stuff. So let's make Slightly Sinister the all the life stuff. You're already talking about making more? Good. Yeah, just your first egg, just have fun with it. It's learning the technique. Don't worry too much about it. I think for demonstration purposes, I need to chill sometimes too, so this is this is nice. I had drawn out this crazy design and I was like, oh, I don't know, that's like 6 colors. And it could take me a long time, and filming always throws me off, so yeah, you can absolutely make these. I mean, what have we been going at? We're at, I think, 2.5 hours now, and I will have a finished Pysanky by the end of it. And I stopped to explain stuff and all that, so you can really make some cool eggs. I'm following one girl who her goal was to do, I think it was like 12 Pysankys in 12 days, so a Pysanky a day. So she's just making little designs every day. I'm gonna say it's absolutely more chill with the electronic one, with the electric Kistka. It's a little bit more chill. Whenever I think of poppies, I think poppies, the Wizard of Oz. When I was a curator of a wax museum, the previous guy was super into Wizard of the Wizard of Oz. So we set about making a really cool Wizard of Oz scene, and I feel like springtime is the perfect time for the Wizard of Oz. Ooh, that would be really cool to do like a Wizard of Oz themed set of Pysanky eggs. It's like add a little bit of ruby glitter in there. Actually, so they're supposed to be gifts that are given for like good luck and well-being. So absolutely. And sometimes, especially if you do the 2-hole technique, people will run a thread through with a little like wooden bead at the bottom to hold the top and bottom of the egg hole open, or not open, but kind of close it up. And they hang them from trees, so they're kind of Pysanky egg ornaments. But typically, they will kind of pour wax on the inside and stabilize the shell a little bit. And Pysanky eggs are definitely have an origin in like fertility and stuff too, so it is appropriate as a baby shower gift. And like maybe you could even find specific symbols and stuff that are like good luck on your baby. May they not drive you too crazy. think that's all of the flowers. Now I gotta fill in all of the spider webs. So load this sucker up. I might change to a larger tip. Maybe not. Actually, let me adjust my little egg lathe. Never mind, not gonna work. I should make a brand of slightly sinister Pysanky eggs. Still working on the website, but it does include a store, so I just gotta figure out how that's gonna work. It'd be cool if it was like a marketplace for patrons. They could post their own stuff on there. But I'm not sure how the logistics of that would go down. Since there's this huge Etsy strike that's going on. Man. First, not only does this thing, like this electric one, have really large wells for the wax, but you can just barrel through these big open fields. If you're going to get into this, this might be worth getting. This is my first time using an electric one, so. I am enjoying it. How cool would it be to have like an heirloom set of eggs or something? See how many generations they make it. How would you like to be the person who inherits the great great grandma's Pysanky eggs and someone in your household smashes them to bits or something on accident? Okay, I think that is everything on the bottom part of the spider web. Let's go to the top. Can you guys hear the little pin scratchy sound? A little bit of ASMR. That sucks. The egg didn't even make it one generation. See, also another lesson into cleaning. Just don't clean anymore. It's evil. Trying to be productive. Some dumb business happens. Is the noise bugging you guys? Hiss and scratch. Oh, those bunch. So we also have trivia night coming up next month, and I'm going to put out a post about voting for the date and time, and be sure to look for that. We had tons of participation last time. It got crazy. It was really fun though. And if you're one of those people, I think so many people were saying, "Oh, I'm not good at trivia nights," but everyone had fun, and they were stuff that, you know, was kind of like common knowledge things or maybe some obscure facts. It's all over the spectrum. It's not just, you know, spooky stuff. Sometimes there are some things thrown in there, you know, movie trivia and things like that. But I try and keep it all over the place so everyone is constantly guessing what the next question is going to be. So this will be my last egg dip color. And it's my darkest color. It's black. Black's always last. And then we will go about the process of removing the wax. I have like a little mini heat gun that I'm going to use, but you can absolutely use the candle. You just got to be very careful not to scorch your egg or burn yourself for that matter. Okay, I think that is everything on the bottom side. So moment of truth, guys. That looks like I got green somewhere. Green wax on there somewhere. Maybe, I don't know. Okay. Kistka and everything. Oh. Okay. All right. Is everything done that needs to be done? Everything else will be black. Okay. Moment of truth. Mix up my inky black. Ooh, that's dark. Okay, very carefully. Paper towels ready. Give it a good soak. You want your black to be really strong. Dye. Make sure it's make it all over the place. Paper towel. Okay. Like those dyes are way better than the dyes you get at the store. You could be leaving those eggs in the store-bought stuff for like half an hour and they still come out super pastel. I when I was just kind of reviewing to make sure I give you guys all the right information and stuff, I kind of was looking up additional things that I could tell you about. And I had just discovered this morning that someone has come up with a reverse method where you dye your egg black first, cover what you want to leave black, and then you basically work in the reverse color situation. But it requires like that the Myers brand kind of like lemon countertop cleaner, and you just scrub it or spray and scrub it. Okay, so egg, time to remove. I'm gonna make sure I get all this black dye out. Are you guys pretty close to where I'm at right now? Okay, I think I'm ready to take all this wax off. So for that, give me a second. I gotta plug in my little, oops, wrong way. I gotta plug in my little heat gun. So give me just a second. You can look at my egg in the meantime. I'll leave it on the non-ruined side. Oh no, my egg rolled off. How great would that have been? And for most people, this is described as the funnest part. I could see where they get that. You get to see all your colors coming together. So what you're gonna do is have a paper towel on hand. You're gonna turn your little blow dryer or whatever it is, or have your candle going, and you're just gonna hold your egg slightly off of the heat of the candle if you're gonna use the candle, and then as you see it melt, wipe it away. You don't want to hold it on there forever. You don't want the candle wax dripping everywhere, so just do this in a very controlled method. So I'm actually gonna look how bright it is. Okay. So some people at this point will take a little like soft bristle toothbrush and give the egg a good scrub to kind of get any excess wax off and stuff. And that's definitely something you need to do if you're going to put a varnish, a protective top coat on your egg. And I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it as is because it's, you know, just a demonstration egg. So, but if you do varnish it, you need to make sure that that varnish works with your egg dyes, because what is it? I think a polyurethane is what you need to use. If you use an acrylic based, I believe that saps your dyes. It'll make them bleed and run. Oh, I keep hitting the camera. Sorry. Get all this stuff out of the way, and then I'll do some final shots. So there we go, guys. Pysanky eggs. How fun is that? There you can see that little mistake right there. If it was the end of the world for you, paint over it with black paint. You could try and etch the egg a little bit to get that opened back up so you can dye it, but it's kind of a moot point to do that. So, but there we go. Pysanky eggs. Let's up our Easter egg decorating game here. So tell me what you think. If you guys liked this craft along, always let me know so I know I'm on the right track. The more practice you get, the better and consistent your lines will be. Let me try and get this even closer. Sorry. Macro lens, go. So you can get more consistent and with your line work and stuff, but I hope you guys had fun. It's definitely fun to do. Let me refocus. And that's the basics of Pysanky eggs. And there's wild patterns out there for you guys to explore. Tons of different colors, themes. Like I said, each traditional shape or pattern has a specific meaning. So get into it. And I'd like to see what you guys made. So if you do post stuff, hashtag it Slightly Sinister and hashtag your guild, your crafting guild if you're part of one, so you can get points. I'm about to do points today. I was a little bit, I completely forgot. I meant to do it on Wednesday, but I didn't get around to it. So I'm going to tally points. So if you want, you could even count these today. So get your pictures up there, post them in Discord, your social media. Just let us know. Let everyone see what you've been working on. But there we go. Whee! Does anyone have any questions before I let you go? Did anyone have any serious troubles? Good. I'm glad you had fun. So since there's no questions, I'll let you guys go. Craft alongs, the beginning of every month, roughly. Just be looking out for the calendars, and it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. We have a lot of really fun activities and stuff coming up. So I figured you meant fun. Until next time, everyone. Ooh. Have a good one.